Okay, today we're going to talk about something a little bit different. We're going to talk about military bros and kind of what that means. It's one of the crazier things on the internet now. Like, you have mafia guys on the internet. You also have special forces soldiers in, like, YouTube drama, right? Like, seriously, this is a thing that happens now. It's crazy because a lot of these guys, they're so respected, and as they should be because they're all heroes and stuff. But now they're now that their careers are over, they're on YouTube making drama videos about each other, trying to expose each other, and it's crazy. We're gonna talk about some of the different cases of this happening. You know, some like actual like, American heroes that are like getting exposed by other American heroes. It's a pretty wild phenomenon. It's crazy. The first thing I want to show you is Tim Kennedy is I think he was a Marine. He was in the UFC and he did something else too. I can't remember what the other thing was. He did something else. Tim Kennedy is, he's a UFC fighter and a Marine, American hero, all that, all the great stuff, right? He, in an interview, said he claimed to have, two bronze stars or three bronze stars. Whatever it was, it really doesn't matter. He claimed to have two or three bronze stars. It turned out he didn't have the bronze stars he thought he did. He had a different type of bronze star, right? There's bronze star in action, and then there's like the bronze star in the office, right? And he had a couple of bronze stars for being in the office, right? Which it means nothing, it doesn't really matter, not that the medals don't mean anything. That it doesn't really matter that he got that mixed up or anything like that. But these military bros, they kind of tore Tim apart. I don't really see the value in American soldiers sort of going after each other. It doesn't really it gains nothing. Nobody gets anything out of it. The public isn't any better off. They're just shitting on each other for really no reason. So I do want to show you kind of what I'm talking about here. This guy, Valhalla VFT, he has made quite a few of these videos talking shit about other soldiers, other military guys. So here is kind of this is sort of the end of it, right? I think it was this guy who called him out. Tim tried to deny it at first because he knew he had bronze stars or silver stars. I really honestly this there's a lot of shit here, right? I don't actually remember the whole thing. The whatever star it was, Tim had it, but he had a different kind. He had one that was for office duties instead of being out in the field, right? Tim was, out in the field. He's a soldier. He's the whole thing. So this guy calls him out. Um, he it's sort of a back and forth. Tim tries to deny it. Then eventually Tim actually goes and checks, was I, this or that, did I actually get this medal? And it turned out he didn't get the medal he thought, right? Tim apologized. This guy sort of gloated about it. No one gained anything in any of this. Like, no one is better off now that we know that Tim Kennedy has one type of bronze star instead of another type of bronze star. I mean, no one really gains anything from that, right? So, no one cares. No one gained anything. This says stolen valor. If you were in the military and you were really doing all these things like Tim was, I mean, he mixed up a medal. I mean, like, let's give the guy a break. I can't imagine. I can't imagine he did it on purpose, right? Everyone says Tim's a great guy. They don't really. I don't know. It seems strange to me. So Tim was the first one, right? And Tim sort of apologized. He was sorry about the whole thing. This guy sort of, gloated that he was right. And then this guy's a soldier too, right? So it's pretty crazy. Then you have this, okay? This same guy did a similar thing about John Shrek McPhee. Let me pull up John Shrek McPhee. This is John Shrek McPhee, okay? They call him the Sheriff of Baghdad. I think he was a Delta guy, a Delta Force guy. He, he's one of the most badass people you'll ever see in your life. The guy, he sells some interesting stuff that's pretty funny, but he's a hero. He's a hero. He's an American hero. But this guy called him out, right? This guy said he kind of made some allegations. I don't really want to talk about the allegations because I don't really think that's fair to John. The guy didn't really have much evidence, I don't think, or not enough for me to want to shit on him, to be honest. Same again, this guy's a veteran, calling out veterans. I don't think John engaged back with this. I don't think John challenged him, whereas Tim did. So it kind of made it like, it was a really bad look because it was a very bad look because, Tim was going and then this guy was going back. So it made it look like high school drama, for the military, right? Which is crazy. I mean, why you would do that? I really don't know. So the main thing I kind of want to talk about here, this is just like these were smaller things, right? Because they didn't escalate as far. They didn't make the military look as bad as this next thing did. Because what you have here on this next one is a guy. There's two different teams, right? There's the Anti-Hero Podcast, which is veterans. Then you have Rob O'Neill, right, who was a member of SEAL Team 6, I think it was, who was on the Bin Laden raid and killed Osama Bin Laden, right? So that's the context of who these people are going at each other, right? I do want to play you the video, however, of the Anti-Hero Podcast calling out Rob O'Neill, said he was a liar, that he wasn't the one who, got Bin Laden, it was someone else. I want to kind of play that for you and then let you decide.
One team unit, okay? He says a self-proclaimed 400 missions. Don't doubt it. I said before, this man is an American hero. He's a war hero. He's done things. He has seen things. He has done great things over and over and over and over and over for this country. Not only did it in war, he did it in training over and over and over and over so he could do it in war.
Right.
He's on this mission, as he says, because he was picked to be on this mission. He was good enough to be on this mission. And on the biggest stage, you forget what to do. He has this, what I call tactical amnesia. And by the way, the mission magically stops apparently right now in this story because that's kind of how this, I don't know if he's writing his own movie and this is how he wants it to end and thinks this is a good ending. I've already explained that this is one of 4 rooms and upstairs, one of 4 rooms. Now, between him, we'll jump back and forth between his story and reality. He says by the time he gets in that room, takes him about a second to shoot Osama bin Laden in the face, regardless of everything else he says he sees and does. Okay? And then he moves a kid over to the bed, moves them all out of the way, moves a kid to the bed. All this can happen in just a matter of seconds. And now Navy SEALs are flooding into the room, and they're not continuing to clear, which means in a matter of seconds, he's gone from alone to the whole 3rd floor cleared. Do you follow what the point I'm trying to make?
Right.
So
well, it certainly doesn't add up.
Let's take this story with Matt Bissonnette, and the other story that I've heard personally from them is that it's a whole group of guys going to the 3rd floor. Well, then yes, each room will kind of be taken down within a matter of seconds of each other.
Right.
But again, you can't have it both ways. You can't be by yourself, and then the mission be basically over, right? And you can't have it that way. It's just not the truth. So you're either by yourself, or you have a large group of people in there with you. Again, it just goes back to it doesn't make tactical sense. Besides that, he forgets his job. He shoots a guy in the face 3 times, moves a kid, and then he's overwhelmed. He doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know that every mission in his life, when the mission is over, that you go to SSE. Do you find that to be odd that he just forgets his job? And he says this. He says it. He says, "My man, my man, one of my men come up to me." So he's proving ownership. He's proving that I'm in a person above him in ownership, if you will. I'm the team leader, superior to this guy, because that's why he doesn't address him as and one of the guys on the mission, another guy. One of my men come up to me and says, "Are you okay?" I have never shot a guy on target, and had one of my lower IC men come up to me and be like,
"You good, Brent?
You just killed a terrorist. Are you okay, Brent?" It's what we're there to do. It's what he's done a lot. I believe Rob's killed a lot of people, and I believe he's been proud of probably every kill as he should have. But now he doesn't know what to do, and it doesn't make, when you hear it and you hear it as a story, you don't think anything of it. When you hear this story as a tier 1 operator, absolutely not. And now that I have you guys thinking in this way, does that make sense?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't make sense. It's
Okay, so here's kind of the issue, right? This guy says, Rob O'Neill's story doesn't make sense. This was 2 years ago, by the way. And they kind of, the Anti-Hero podcast, they kind of hammered on this for like a year, for like quite a long time, right? They hammered on this. And it inevitably led to Rob O'Neill suing them for defamation, right? Now, that's still going on. The issue they had with the story is the exact way that he told the story, right? He kind of made it sound a bit too action movie-ish, right? He gets up there by himself, kills the guy, no problem, that's it. He has now retold the story. Rob O'Neill has retold the story, how it actually happened. He left 2 details out of the story because he felt like he was protecting some people who were there that day, right? So he was not the first man. In Rob O'Neill's words, he was not the first man to the door, right? He was not the first man to look Bin Laden in the eye and, the whole thing. There was a guy in front of him, okay? The guy in front of him apparently missed his shot. He missed his shot, right? Rob O'Neill then shot him, killed him. That was the end of it. Rob O'Neill, the guy who missed the shot, apparently hit Amal, who was his wife, I think. I really don't know the whole Bin Laden multiverse, right? So apparently the first guy misses Bin Laden, hits someone else. Rob O'Neill hits Bin Laden. That's the end of it. Job done. Then within like a couple of seconds, the rest of the guys get up there. They fire safety shots into Bin Laden. And then Rob O'Neill is going to take a picture of Bin Laden, which apparently you have to do for this kind of thing. I really don't know. It was ordered by the CIA, not the military, so I guess it's a bit different, this specific thing. He goes to take a picture, and some guy just canoes him, right? Which is when you stand over someone and you canoe, right? You get the idea. That is the other detail he left out. He didn't tell the detail about the guy canoeing him, right? He didn't do that because that would have been very bad for the guy who did it. The guy who came up behind him and shot him, when he was already dead, sort of destroying his face. That would have been very bad for that guy. So he conveniently left that part of the story out. The guy who missed the shot, that also would have been very bad for him. So he conveniently left that part out too, to try and protect his guys. And to be honest, I think if we're being honest, if you were part of this team, I don't think you would have told those details either. I don't think I would have. I think if I was in that situation, one of the most important, it is the most important moment of all of their lives. Two guys mess up real bad. I don't think, those details are necessarily important to tell everyone, Hey, this idiot, he messed up. Oh, this idiot, he messed up. I don't think that's an important detail to tell. I understand why he left it out. And I believe him. I really have no reason to disbelieve this guy. He is a decorated war veteran. Everyone, acknowledges how great. Even him. Even the guy who's exposing him. He even talks about how great he is. How he's a hero. How he's this, he's that. I have a tendency to believe these people, to be honest, I don't think he has a reason to really lie about any of this. I don't think he lied. I think he just omitted a couple of details. If you want to say it's a lie by omission, fair enough. I do want to play you what Rob O'Neill himself has said, as sort of, just a bit of a counter, so you can get both sides.
I mean, I'm not telling that story. We need to make this work. This is a bad situation now. And I've been leaving breadcrumbs for this for 10 years now.
It's a tough question, man. I'll be honest with you. I lean towards telling the truth.
That is the truth.
No, that's what I mean in the debrief, though, too. Because the reality is...
At the time, it didn't matter. We're going to be best friends forever, and no one needs to know this happened.
It's still a lie, though.
No, I didn't tell it either.
There's also lying by omission.
Whatever. It's a debrief. I didn't tell that part of the debrief. This is the truth.
I understand that. What I'm saying is you knew that what was being said in the debrief wasn't the truth. And I'm not trying to assess blame. That's not what I'm trying to do. But you asked, what would I do in that situation? And again, this is a hypothetical, right? Fucking easy for me because we're sitting in Kalispell, Montana, and I don't have the pressure. You understand literally the global optic that is going to come from this. So I understand.
No, you know what's crazy is not really the global optic. I mean, obviously.
Eventually. You realize this is going to be global news. Let's put it that way.
Well, but at the time, being in that, everyone's special.
Yeah.
So you don't really take credit. Yeah, not credit, but you don't appreciate how special. We were surprised as shit when we got back to the Seabees place and on Yahoo, you'd see SEAL Team 6 kills Osama bin Laden. That was surprising.
Yeah.
Would I do that differently now? Fuck yeah. I would do it differently. If I could go back and do the debrief differently, you're goddamn right I would. And if you want this on tape, fine. But again, I wasn't talking. But also with the argument that I was foreman, I hope they play the debrief.
Yeah.
That blows me being the foreman completely out of the water.
I don't know if you saying you weren't the one talking gives you the cover.
I'm not trying to get cover. I'm not trying to get cover.
And I'm not saying
this top cover should have. I was going to take that to my grave. This doesn't matter. This team got him.
So going back to your question, though, I want to believe that I would have told the truth to include the guy walking up point blank, because here's the reality. He shouldn't have done that in the first place.
Fuck no, he shouldn't.
And I understand.
But also, I shouldn't be getting
exactly
blamed for being the guy that did it.
I agree with you.
I'm a lot taller than the guy that did it. We're talking about, you can tell people who are there by the shadows in their walk. You know goddamn well I did not canoe bin Laden.
Yeah. I understand why not only somebody would do that, but also shoot his dead body after 20 years of sustained combat.
To be fair there too, I don't have a problem with that. I just need to identify him. What I have a problem with is someone doing it and then years later they say that's what I did trying.
Okay, so that's just a bit of his explanation as to why he lied. Okay, not lie. Lie is so tricky because it is a lie by omission. It is not a lie. He was not the guy on the debrief talking. He's not the one who told the story, to the military. It's really hard because it's such an insignificant detail, right? The point is, that team went into that building and got that guy, and it was Rob O'Neill who did it, okay, who pulled the trigger on bin Laden. And that, really, who cares about the rest, right? The issue the other guy had with Rob is he tried to say he wasn't the one who killed bin Laden. He just he was one of the guys putting the safety shots in. Who cares who actually did it, right? Who cares? It really doesn't matter. So I guess my final sort of thing on the whole military bro drama, the whole this weird thing now where you know, Navy SEALs have gone on Delta Force guys podcast to like talk about military drama. It's insane that that's a thing now, but nevertheless, it is a thing. I guess my final question is, what is the point, right? What is the point of any of this? What is the point of bringing these things up? Who is this helping? Who is this benefiting? If anything, if I was, you know, 18 thinking about joining the military and I saw all this, I'd probably be like, what is even the point? You know, why would I even bother when this is what it's like, you know? This is just, I just think this is terrible for everyone. And my issue is not with Tim Kennedy or John Shrek McPhee or Rob O'Neill. It's really with the guys who are doing this drama, right? Because Tim, John, Rob, these guys didn't start drama, right? They're just telling their stories of their former life, you know, trying to make some money, you know, now that they're retired from the military. They're just, you know, they're just doing what they're doing. And these guys, they, you know, even this guy, I know he's really respected, the guy Rob was talking to. Even him, right, you know, he's grilling him, and it's kind of pointless, you know? Just let it die. Don't let it, you know, don't keep pushing this. Just let it be. Anyway, that's it. I just want to talk about that because I've been seeing this stuff lately. I watch like military stuff, Sean Ryan podcast. It's just crazy. It was just crazy to me. Anyway, that's it.